Hello class and welcome to Math Minutes. This is video number 20. Get your notebooks out, turn to page 27, and we're going to start graphing by plotting some points on the coordinate plane. If you connect any 2 points on a coordinate plane, you've made a line. To figure out where the points go, we will solve a linear equation multiple times to get different values for the variables, which will give us different coordinates to plot. A lot of big words, but let's take a look at what this is broken down into some steps. Let's look at the equation 2x plus 1 equals y. We will select a value for x, substitute that value into the equation, and then solve for y. Let's pick x equals 2. We substitute 2 into the equation. So instead of 2x, we now have 2 times 2 plus 1. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. Therefore, we have solved for the value of 5. So our first coordinate will be 2. Why 2? Because we already chose 2, and we used that information to give us what the value of y is. That gives us 5. But now if I plot that point, I only have one piece of the information I need. How many points do I need to make a line? I need at least 2. So now let's pick a different value for x and solve for y again. Let's pick x to be 3. So this time, instead of substituting in 2, we're going to substitute 3 and get a different value for y. Input, different output. So now 2 times 3 plus 1 is 6 plus 1, therefore 7 equals y. So this time, when we pick x to be 3, y is going to be 7. We now have 2 points. We can plot them on a graph, connect them, and we've graphed a line by plotting points. Take a look at your next page, and let's take a look at what this line looks like on the graph. So our 2 coordinates, if you recall, are 2, 5, and 3, 7. Well, we've connected them. We have a line. Let's take a look at how we plotted these. We went to the right 2, and we went up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our other coordinate was 3, 7. We went to the right 3, and we went up 7. Now, we can organize this information when we're trying to find out coordinates in order to graph a line by using an XY table or input-output. The number you're putting in, you calculate all the stuff you need to do, and your output is your answer. So in an equation like this, I can put in 1 for x. My answer is going to come up to be 7. Let's take a look at how that worked out if we pick x now to be 3 instead. So on the left of your table is your input, the number you're going to pick to figure out what your output is going to be. So let's pick 3 and see what happens. Well, here's our equation. So instead of x, I've substituted in 3. So I have 2 times 3 plus 5 equals y. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 5 is 11. So when x equals 3, y is going to be 11. I could do the problem again, but this time I could substitute 5 and I would get 15 as my output. These are 4 plots that I can put on a graph and they would form a line. So this is your XY table or an input-output table. Let's do some practicing. On your next page, we have some equations that we can practice using the XY table, input, output. Number 1, 3 plus x equals y. Let's just look at the values I randomly picked for x. Let's start with 1. So we're going to do this equation 2 times using these 2 different values for x. So the first time x is 1, I'm going to say 3 plus 1 equals y. 3 plus 1 is 4. So when x is 1, y is going to be 4. And I have my first coordinate, 1, 4. Well, now what if x is 2? Well, now I'm going to substitute 2 in. I'm going to say 3 plus 2 equals y. 3 plus 2 is 5. So when x is 2, y is 5. These would be my 2 coordinates that I could plot on a graph, connect, and make a line. Number 2, when x is 1, let's substitute 1 in. 3 times 1 minus 2 equals y. 3 times 1 is 3, minus 2 equals y. 3 minus 2 is 1. So when x is 1, y is 1 also. What happens when x is 2? Well, let's substitute that in. 3 times 2 minus 2 equals y. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 minus 2 equals y. 6 minus 2 is 4. So when when x is 2, y is going to equal 4. I now have 2 coordinates to plot. Number 3, 1/2 y plus 6 equals x. Well, this time I've chosen to put values in for y to solve for x. Sometimes in equations that's going to be easier. It does not matter which one you do first. So now let's substitute 6 for y. So now we're going to say 1/2 6 plus 6 equals x. Well, what is 1/2 times 6? Half of 6 is 3. 3 plus 6 equals x. 3 plus 6 is 9. So when y is 6, x is going to be 9. Well, let's put 10 in. 1/2 times 10 plus 6 equals x. Half of 10 is 5 plus 6. 5 plus 6 is 11. And there we have our 2 points. We have 9, 6, and we have 11, 10. Number 4, x is 5, so I'm going to put that in here. I'm going to say y equals 14 minus 2 times 5. Y equals 14 minus 2 times 5 is 10. Y equals 14 minus 10 is 4. So if x is 5, y is going to be 4. Well, now let's substitute 6 in for x. Y equals 14 minus 2 times, not x, but 6. Y equals 14 minus 2 times 6 is 12. Y equals 14 minus 12, which is 2. And there are my 2 coordinates, 5, 4, and 6, 2. And our last practice together, y equals 5x. Well, let's pick x to be 0. That means our first equation will be y equals 5 minus 0. Basically, that just means it's going to be 5. Well, what if x is 1? Y equals 5 minus 1. Y equals 4. And we have our 2 coordinates. Okay, well done. Bring your completed notebooks to class to get full credit, and I'll see you there.